Hi, Terry here, and welcome to Times Gone Tech. Hey, today is the day. Part 4 of making a propellant for antique muzzleloader firearms. Testing day at the range. Actually, I went there earlier this morning. I filmed about 2 hours worth of video. Way too much to bore you with in this coming up this video. But well, have a look and see how the morning pretty well went. 1382. One 386. One 358. And that's pretty much it. That's how the day went. I'm back now, and the important thing is I got the numbers and some cleaning patches. So let's look at some numbers here. GoX, we got a 1382, 1386, and 1356 for an average of 1374 feet per second muzzle velocity. Now then, my powder that I've been normally making using the 75-15-10 mix ratio, Eastern Red Cedar charcoal, milled for 24 hours with lead media, 1489, 1361, and 1350 for an average of 1400. Now that's pretty even with GoX. So yeah, I'd say it's right in line with GoX. So then the 75-15-10 that I milled for 48 hours, we got a 1273, a 1443, a 1232 for a total of 1316. Again, I'm going to say no big difference really. You'd think milled for twice as long, you'd see some significant improvement, but no, at least not with Eastern Red Cedar and not with using lead media. Okay, the 77-13-10, the little bit of a hotter, leaner mix, milled for 24 hours. That came in with a 1269, 1351, and a 1310 for an average of 1310. Again, right in there with my powder for 24 hours at 75-15-10 and with GoX. No real noticeable improvement. The same mix ratio milled for 48 hours, we got a 1310, a 1446, a 1422 for an average of 1392. Again, that's pretty equal to GoX, 1374. So no real significant improvement. Okay, now here's the one with that kind of got me. This is the brass media for 48 hours. 1342, 1342, and 1342 for an average of 1342. So no difference in performance. I'm going to say all of these really pretty much no real difference in performance. If we just take it at face value, my 75-15-10 mix ratio used in Eastern Red Cedar, milled for 24 hours with lead media, is commercial grade powder. Now, I know some of you are going to be thinking, man, these muzzle velocities are really low. But I'm using a 54 caliber and a 70 grain target load also. I could go up to 120, even 140 grains of double F, maybe even more in that 54 caliber. And I did fire one round at 90 grains, and I got a 1587, I think. So I got 200 extra feet per second just going from 70 to 90 grains. So if I went up to 120 grains, yeah, I'd be up around 1800 feet per second. I'm sure of that with a hunting load. Just with a low target load, yeah, these numbers are about right. Now, here's the main thing. Let's look at the fouling patches. Okay, here's what we got. on the fouling patches. This one is Go X. That's after 3 shots. Okay. My powder, 75, 15, 10 milled for 24 hours of lead media. No real difference, really. You might think this one's maybe just a tiny, teensy, weeniest bit cleaner, maybe. Here it is for 48 hours. Again, no real big difference. Here's the 77, 13, 10, 24. Maybe a little cleaner. Again, lead media. Maybe a little cleaner than a Go X, maybe. Maybe the same. Maybe a little cleaner than my 75, 15, 10 at 24, maybe the same. And then we get up here to 77, 13, 10, 48 hours. And here's the real big one. Brass media, 77, 13, 10, 48 hours. Yeah, I'm going to say this one is noticeably dirtier than even this one. That's Go X. And this is my 75, 15, 10, 24 hours. Which would you think is cleaner? Now, this is what was a real surprise to me because I expected this one to come out really super clean, and I didn't. So what's going on with that? I mean, what's up with that? Why is this with the brass media so much dirtier than lead media for 24 hours, 48 hours brass? What's going on here, huh? Some people suggested that there was some rubber contamination going on in the mixer, and I've discounted that. I've done some research on it, and I'm going to have to say, no, there isn't. That rubber is just too hard. That is a rock tumbler. It's designed to operate for years with grit, grinding media, grinding down and polishing stone. If those round lead spheres would rub rubber off the inside of those tanks, there wouldn't be any rubber left in them after a couple of months using it as a rock tumbler. So I'm discounting that theory across the board. I mean, if you want to pack 10 pounds worth of, odd jagged edges, different odd shapes, lead scrap metal that you sweep up off the floor, yeah, you're gonna probably wear it out, but not the way I'm using it. So again, this is 24 hours after 3 shots, 24 hours lead media, 75, 15, 10, and then brass. Well, I do have a theory about what's going on here. I've been holding off on it until I was pretty sure I knew what was going on, or until the testing proved me out, which I don't think it proved me out yet, but I think it's pointed in my direction. And here it is. There is minimal, if any at all, lead contamination going on in that ball mill from my use of lead media. It ranges from none to extremely minute, if any at all. And here's why. When you look at the lead balls, you're not seeing lead. When I look at them, there is a thin, hard coating of black powder, packed on to the outside of those balls. Now, if you're using soft lead and odd shaped scraps, broken wheel weights, and just junk that you sweep up off the shop floor, then yeah, as it's turning, as that mill is turning, those pieces are going to be banging and crashing into each other. They're going to be breaking off microscopic pieces of lead. Yeah, I get that, okay? But I'm using those same bullets that I shoot in my guns. 69 caliber, 62 caliber, 54 caliber, round balls. Lead alloyed with antimony, which is hard lead. And if you want to know how hard, I've shot those things into a wood backstop, dug them out with a pocket knife, and they were so little deformed, I could put them back in the gun and shoot them again right then, as is. And here's what I'm thinking is going on. Since I'm using balls, spheres, little spheres, as that little rock tumbler is turning, they aren't banging into each other. They're rolling over each other. There aren't any little fins or anything inside to catch the balls to pick them up and then have them drop. They're just rolling along the bottom. They're just rolling over each other, and they're never actually touching. This is my theory. Lead is never touching lead. Gunpowder is touching gunpowder. So no microscopic flakes of lead are being broken off because they aren't doing this. They're doing this. They're just rolling over each other, and they're never even touching. I don't know if that's right or not. I just made this up. I don't know how I could test it either. I'm sure I could think of a way, but it would explain these. It does explain the difference between why is this powder as clean as GoX? I mean, it should be dirtier than GoX. There's another possibility. GoX uses graphite and I don't. And graphite does make gunpowder burn dirtier. So if they took their graphite out, their powder might be a lot cleaner than mine. I don't know. You know, this could be mine with lead, and then GoX without graphite could be a lot cleaner than this. But as it is, this is equal to a very popular, well, some even call it the gold standard, very popular commercial grade of black powder. So this is my third time at making gunpowder, and I'm up to a commercial grade. So anyway, I am at a loss to explain the brass. So I'm going to discount the brass. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to have to wait a little while. I got 4 pounds of gunpowder to burn up. I'm at my legal limit on what I can store now. So I got to burn some up before I can make some more. I'm going to get back to that though. I'm going to get back to brass versus lead. That'll probably be the next black powder experiment that I do. I think I'm going to stick with 75, 15, 10 though, because the difference between that and the 77, 13, 10, there really wasn't any as far as I can tell. Now, if I went to maybe a 77, 12, 12, I might try that in the future and we could see what goes on with that. And I will be trying different charcoals. Again, as I burn up what I've got, then I make some more. I've got some ideas on that where I can improve the charcoal. But anyway, in conclusion, that's how I make gunpowder. It's how I'm doing it right now. And it's at least equal to a commercial grade GoX. You know, it may not be a Swiss. It may not be as good as some people on other YouTube channels are turning out, but hey, it's good as GoX. So thanks for sticking on with me through this playlist. And hey, see you next time.